Hello everyone, this is RWvBXAA. If you didn't know, that's how you say my username, or as my friends just call me, Jake. If you didn't know, I made the top 13 for the Red vs. Blue Season 13 music video contest. Even before the announcement, I was planning on making this breakdown video, but today I just found out I made it, and I'm freaking so happy that I made it. Like, you don't even know, it still doesn't feel real to me, but it motivated me to finally make the video. But this video, I'm recording it the day that I found out, but I will not be putting this video up, or you will not be seeing this video until after the contest is already over, like it's been voted on the winner. This is the longest I've ever put into, like, the most amount of time I've ever put into one of my videos. If we're excluding all the issues I had near the very end of this video, I probably put somewhere between 40 and 50 hours into this video, and I'll explain why. If we're including problems, then add an additional 10 hours on top of that. You'll see later on, I'm going to be jumping between this project and another project, and the reason for that is because at some point near the end of this video, when I was making it, the file almost got corrupted, so this might actually not even go well. My video might actually break down, but it got corrupted, and like I could not edit inside of this certain file anymore, and I had to basically render out what I had in this and then combine it with footage in another project that I finished the rest of this in. And so you might also see some differences from my final video and in this project. I'm trying to make this video not too long, but there was a few things I did want to talk about. So the first thing I want to say is about how I got the idea for this video was I was going through the Trocadero songs, because obviously that was the band we had to use. And the thing was that I was having a hard time finding a song that I felt like I could edit to, just because it's totally, like, their music is like totally out of like the zone of what I use to edit. So like I was having trouble finding a song, and like nothing was really giving me too many ideas, and like the closest one was Contact, but I knew that song was really popular and I didn't want to use it just because I felt like a lot of people might use it, and also when I heard it, I still didn't feel like I had a good enough idea of what to do. And then I heard Superhero, which is the song I ended up using. What happened was one of the first things I heard was in the chorus was the part about the outfit fits just a little too tight, the outfit fits just a little too tight. And I immediately thought about the X-Ray and Vav scene, where this right here, where you see him pulling up the pants. But the thing was, when I was going into the video, originally what I wanted to do was a Red vs. Blue and Ruby crossover. And because I'd always thought about doing one, and then when I saw that we were allowed to use other footage besides RWB, I was like, oh, I'll just do a Ruby and Red vs. Blue crossover. But when I heard that, I could not stop thinking about literally this one scene, and I was like, well, what if I did X-Ray and Vav, Red vs. Blue and Ruby? And I started thinking, because when I always wanted to do a Red vs. Blue and Ruby crossover, I always thought about, like, what would you call it? Like, and people I've seen on Tumblr talk about crossover names. It'd be like, would it be RWvBY? Would it be RWBY? Would it be RWvB? Or just stuff like that. And so I was like, well, X-Ray and Val has an X in it. I was like, I could do RWvBX. And then I immediately thought of the RTAAs. I was like, or I could do RWvBXAA. And at that time, I was like, Jake, you're crazy. I was like, there's no way that you're going to be able to do this. But like, I had an idea. I was like, what if I did masking and made them actually cross over, like, in certain shots? And the thing is, like, I've done very minimal masking before in my videos. Like, I've done, like, you might not even be able to tell in some of my videos where I've done it. But so, like, I wasn't even sure if I could go through with the whole thing. So the first thing I did was the very first thing I edited was this scene right here, with Yang firing off in the background and X-Ray shooting his laser beam, and Michael from the laser team, from the laser tag RTAA. Originally, like, they were really, like, I was trying to work on perspective and stuff. They were really big in the background, But if you're watching this and you don't know what masking actually is, here I'll explain it to you. It's basically, in order to get these characters into the shot, what you have to do is you take the clip. Hold on, let me load it up. Hopefully this doesn't crash. And you see all these dots down here? What it is you see how I have all of these dots around the character? That's basically, it's kind of like I'm cutting him out and then pasting him over this image. But the thing is you see how I have these are called keyframes. If you're an editor, you already know all this stuff, but I'm just explaining to anyone who might not be an editor. And basically these keyframes are like where he moves, even if it's just slightly, like see here, he moves a little bit, and then if you go here, he's ducked down more. And the reason we have these is that every time one of these keyframes come up, I have to either adjust the dots slightly, like by taking like this tool right here, and hold on. So like see if I was going in, like say like his arm moved down here, I would have to like move this down. But the thing is that some of these, like, you can't even just adjust them. You have to like reset the whole thing and then go back in and put all these individual dots again. So that's basically why my video took like 40 to 50 hours, was because I was just going in and doing, like, for instance, let me show you. This was probably the longest thing I had to mask, was this very last clip of Jean flying from the explosion and then, you know, text rolling and landing. Because this one scene of Jean flying through the air is 51 frames. And you see I have a keyframe for every single frame. There was not one frame that I could adjust the things. I had to literally go in and reset the mask for every single frame and redo the dots over and over. And so you see, like, this scene alone, I think, took me 4 hours to do, just because, like I said, I've never really done masking, so I wasn't as used to it. So, like, it took me a little longer than probably people who've been doing it for years. Also, just showing you, like, cool little things that you don't notice because, like, I try to make it go smooth. It's like right here, as you see, Tex is going how her leg goes over Jean. In order to do that, I had to cut out this section where she's supposed to be rolling over him, copy the clip, put it up here, and then all I had to do was mask out the sections of her leg that were going over Jean. We probably don't even notice it in the video, but that's good because it's supposed to be that way. But and then over here I have a dead Barbara come into frame. And also the other thing that, like, with doing these masking is, on top of the masking, I also have to, except for this one actually worked out perfectly. Like, the panning is almost exactly how it is in this scene. Like, the way that this clip actually pans compared to this clip actually pans almost exactly the same. I only had to pan it with I took a picture of the last frame where you just see his arm. What I did is I went here and then I took a snapshot of the preview with just this, like, without the masking, and I just copied and pasted it a couple times, like you see here, and I just panned the shot so that he moves over a little bit. But, like, as you see, some of these, like, in a lot of these clips, like, if I go back to here, like, how they're moving, how they start off on the right side of the screen and they start coming over here, is what you have to do is, on top of masking, you have to pan the shots. So, like, what I mean is, like, right here, if you see, I start, this square, like, this rectangle is basically what shows up here. So, like, this whole square is, like, here, square, rectangle, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. So then what I do is I make another keyframe near the end of where I want him to end at that point in the clip. So, like, right here, I want him to be here. So as you see, because of the pan, how it moves over, and then he comes in the frame over here. So now that I've explained to you basically, like, how that works, I could get through this video a little bit quicker. Now for the rest of this, I'm just gonna go from the beginning, and I'll skip around. Like, I won't show some of, like, I'll just skip around to some of the more important stuff. But so I have this scene where the song starts off, it says, you know, I wanna be a superhero. And I will stop singing for the rest of this video. So anyways, as you see, she comes up and then, you know, the little thought bubble comes up over here over her head. I had her like basically, if you didn't get it while watching the video, she's basically imagining a suit, like in the lyrics, I want to be a superhero. So she's imagining a superhero, and it fades into, you know, X-Ray and Vav on the building, and then we zoom in into the thought bubble, and then it zooms back out, and then we're in the X-Ray and Vav scene. So I thought that was a cool transition that I was kind of proud of. But just give you a little bit more detail on what I had to do. So what I did is I cut this section out, and then while it's fading, because if you see, like I have it fade in, I put this little solid white color media generator. Like if you go here, I use Sony Vegas 12, by the way, if you haven't already figured that out. You go solid color, and you see I dropped white, so just to maintain the, actually I think I had to color match it. Yeah, so it's not actually a solid white. Is what I had to do is I had to hit this thing, and then I color matched it to oh crap, undo. But like as you see, I just color matched that. So I color matched it to like the exact white that the thought bulb was, and then I have this fade in, and then you see I have this right here. That's another solid color. If I take this away, when it fades in, it looks just like that, and yeah, it has the black. So what I had to do is I had to bring in a solid color like that, and I color matched it to the background, so it just looks like it's the background of the shot, and you don't notice it until right here. And then I have the color fade out because it zooms into the actual scene, so I don't need that in. So then here, just a little quick thing is that I think in this song there's like a drum or a cymbal or something, and I do a quick zoom in, flat, like in a slight blur with the zoom in. And then I think on beat he gets kicked, right? Yeah. And then right here I did a little bit more masking. I have Caboose. Where's the top of the video? So actually, oh yeah, let me just show you this real quick. So this is what my actual like entire track looks like. Yeah. So the only reason I really have that many tracks is just for the running scene that happens later. So other than that, I didn't really need that many tracks. I basically just went in and, you know, masked out Caboose coming up from the thing. He comes in, and then this part right here is like it fades in the background. And then a couple flash is here to hit the beat of the song. You guys probably caught this, but just in case you didn't, Carolina flies in, and then she uses the gravity hammer like she's coming down like a spear, and then I immediately thought of Piero, which is actually voice acted by the same voice actor, Jen Brown, I believe her name is. And so like I cut to the shot of Piero coming down with a spear. I just thought a few of my friends caught that. I thought it was pretty cool. Like I showed you this one earlier, X-Ray and Vav, Michael, and them. And then this one is Jeff on his Vespa riding with Yang on the highway. And this one, like, see, these are so much easier because you see how I have a few keyframes. And then after, I think, certain points, I was actually able to repeat keyframes because at points it was just going up and down, up and down. And so I could copy and paste some of these keyframes, and it would just do the same thing. The only time I really had to adjust it. And as you see, I also have to do the inside spaces where, like, his arms and stuff close in, and you have to cut out this inside space along with cutting out the other places. And the way you do that is normally, like, if I just want to get him, this path is positive, but if you want to cut something out instead of leaving something in, then you switch it to negative like that, and then that's how you cut out the empty space right there. This one, I don't know, people probably caught it, but just in case you didn't, is Carolina hauling ass, or yeah, Carolina hauling ass down the freeway, and then she flies by Gus in his busted up car from the GTA RTAA. I was trying to think of different things that happened in both series that are similar, so I remembered that Orf kind of reminded me of Church when he was in, you know, the Oracle form or whatever, the Forge Mode Ball thing. So I just had this quick thing, and this was actually like the easiest thing to mask because literally I think I like kind of cheated it a little bit. I think instead of going around with it, yeah, I basically just used this tool, and then I went like that but over here, you know, I'm gonna do that. And then I took another one and did it for here, and then I just took a rectangle for the antenna, and then all I had to do other than that was just adjust the things to go up and down to follow her movement up and down, which was very minimal. Okay, so this one cracked me the hell up when I was making it, and quick shout out to Russell, Flair, Shiki, Chika, and Nick. They kept me sane throughout making this video, just because I would talk to them while I would be doing some of these masks, and like they kept motivating me to go. So shout out to those guys. I'll put their channels in the description below. Russell's Elucid AMV, Shiki is Shifty Chaos, Chika is Chika. She was Bow Chicka Bow Wow, but now she's Chika. Flair, new editor, go check her out. She's really awesome. She's just started and she's already better than all of us. Flair the Bear. Nick doesn't really edit, but he's cool guy. Anyways. So, the funny thing about this scene is that I remember when I went to go do it, I was like, this is going to take a while. Just for this quick part right here, I masked out the rubble, but it kind of, even without the masking, it kind of disappears, so I only had to do it for like 2 frames. But the thing about this thing that I love so much is that this mask is actually not really a mask at all. And this was actually the most simplest thing I ever had to do, and I just thought it was so funny. It was Russell and Flair were in the call with me, and we were cracking up when I was doing this. So I actually cheated. Well, like, what wasn't really cheating, but like I just considered cheating because I took an easy way out and it still worked. Was I actually chroma keyed this scene? And if you don't know it, well, there is a little bit of masking, but for the most part, it's chroma key. And if you don't know what chroma key is, it's basically when something has like a solid background or like, you know, like a green screen, they basically use that to take that out. And if you see this scene that the RTAA is originally from, the only thing in this scene besides the car and them is this ledge, and they're only on the ledge for a little bit. So all I had to do was just do the tire, like just this one tire, and then I just did a quick little mask around the rest of it, and then I just moved it up with the car going above it until a certain point where it didn't really matter anymore. And then once I got there, I used chroma key, and I'd use this, and I color matched it to this background, and then I played with here. Let me see if I can replicate it right now for you guys. So see, that's what the scene looks like, because I also had to, you know, pan out, and I had to adjust the pans, like, see, to make it go up and down. But let me see if I can recreate this for you real quick, just to give you an idea of like how to do it. Okay, so see, chroma key here, default, and then color, and then you match it to that. Now see how this is the one thing is at first I didn't think I was gonna be able to, because you see how all that Jordan really uses is just different shades of blue for the most part for his RTAAs. So you see, like, it cuts out most of it, but what it do is if you bring the high threshold all the way down, let's see, and then if you bump up the low threshold, I think you have to play with the high threshold a little bit, and then I remember, and then if you play with the blur amount, and you get the blur amount just right, see, like right there, that's how basically I got that going. But like I fine-tuned it a little bit better than, you know, like I did here. And then then there's this really shitty one. I left this like at first I was gonna try to make this blend better, but it like I was watching I was listening to like some of the commentaries for RWB and stuff, and they were talking about, you know, like some of the shitty like photoshops and stuff they do, and I just thought it was funny, like how you could clearly see the warthog behind it, but you see them flying at it. So I just left it because it just made me laugh so much. And then right here on the beat, I basically have these different frames of the characters coming in, and for that I just did a quick rectangle, you see, rectangle crop, and then I panned it so that they came from out of frame into frame. And then, if you didn't realize when I did this video, is that I'm doing all of the parts in the videos that have this, they're all the same. They're all characters played by the same voice actor. So you see, this is all Lindsay's characters. So you see, it's like Ruby, Kimball, and then you see even the RTAA. I have the RTAA version of her, and then Barbara's characters, You come in, and this is where the video gets basically kind of simple. And it was just because there wasn't like, I only had a limited time to make this video. Like, I didn't have, like, it wasn't like I just sat down for like 5 days and worked on it. It was, I worked on it basically when I was not at work and when I was not busy with other obligations. So like, this pretty much took up my whole time, my free time, making this video. So like, some parts I just had to kind of take a break and take it easy on myself. But like, this parts of the song I was just basically going off the lyrics. So I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. Just did some quick transitional flashes. And then a couple of custom like black transition flashes for the faster drum beats. And then just one thing I've noticed with videos is that certain parts of the song, if you just want one scene, I wanted to keep a good flow of the video. So like these scenes, like right here, it's like Monty fighting and then Lindsay. You notice it's slowly panning just to kind of keep that motion. And then on the beat, I do a quick zoom in with the pan. And then I also do, you see like the radio blur again. You can see it blur a little bit when she hits. And then I did another quick little pan this way to emphasize her churning. And then another little, what is this, a blur? I think I have a little radio bit of blur when she hits him. Yeah, so this is probably what most people consider like the highlight of the video. Like, I've seen people refer to it as like, you know, the standout part of the video. And it's this scene of, you know, the people running and the scenes going in the background. So the way this part came about is I was really trying to figure out what the hell to do with this part of the song, because it was like a really slow part of the song and I didn't want to cut it out, but I was just like, I can't just do, I was like, it's gonna be too boring if it's just, you know, clips with this going in the background. I was like, I need to do something interesting here, but what? And then I don't know, I was like, I think I was just watching a bunch of anime. I was looking at openings. I was always thinking about scenes of like characters running and then like their memories in the background and stuff. So I had the white background, simple enough. So this scene, actually, I was able to cheat this as well a little bit, because basically I was legitimately trying to find a scene in Red versus Blue where I had already found kind of like my X-Ray and VAV and RTAA, and I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to use for Ruby for the running scene, but I could not find a scene of someone from RWB running completely from like profile, like from the side, that could be looped. Like, I found some that were running, but it's like they couldn't be looped, and that needed to be a poor part because I needed to keep a consistent animation going. So I actually loaded up, I have a capture card, and I loaded up Halo 4, and I went in the Forge world, and to save myself time, I dropped down a green screen prop, and I chroma keyed out the green screen, but like you see, it's a little crappy because I don't have that good of chroma key skills. This is why the video took up, why I have so many tracks, is because I went in, and as you see, I have, these clips are panning, but if you notice, they have a little bit of a 2D shadow behind it, and that's because if you go on this track, you add a 2D shadow. But the thing is, like, if I had other clips that had like, if I did that on all the tracks, when I had a mask, there would be shadows behind like characters after I masked them out. So I had to make separate tracks specifically for this. So then see, I just went in, I went to the pan, and I made it so that it was coming through this area. I had a start point and an end point, where start off screen, end off screen. And so, but you see, by the time this goes all the way through, I also needed another clip to come in while this was still on screen. So then I had to go about 1, 2, 3. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I had to do 6 tracks before I could start over on the first track again. So then that's basically like, you know, just repeat for the background clips. And then I have Bernie, and I just thought this fit perfectly with the whole I want to be a superhero thing. It's Bernie when he was a kid running from the RTAA, where he's running in the tunnel with the snakes, and he has the Indiana Jones outfit, but he has the Superman shirt under it. I was like, that just fits so perfectly with the theme. I basically just copy and pasted and then just kept the loop going. But I did have to, up until the fourth clip, I had to pan it because he comes in off screen. This only really applies for the red versus blue, but I started that these all advanced from the first episode to one of the current season 13 episodes. You see, so I start off with the canyon, and then it was in Halo 2, Halo 3. You see, it goes throughout like the sagas. It progresses in time. It's just wanted to be, you know, like time going on. And also the order I did it in was I did it the order of which the shows premiered. So that's why it goes red versus blue, RTAAs, Ruby, then X-Ray and Vav. So starting with the oldest going to the newest. So this was one thing that I'm kind of not satisfied with my video. So like this part, this might ruin the video, not ruin the video for you, but it might annoy you every time you watch the video now. So like you might want to skip ahead a little bit if you don't want to, because this is probably, out of all the masks I did in this video, this is my least favorite, and it's the Ruby mask. And I have so many problems with this mask, but like I was running out of time and I just couldn't. Like the biggest thing was that in this scene I kind of had a good animation of Ren running, but I really wanted it to be like main characters, not like, even though Ren's considered technically a main character, I wanted it to be someone that's like, you know, like the face of the show. So I had Ruby, but this was like the only clip I could really find at the time of her running from profile. And the problem is that there's speed lines in the scene that go over her, so you see the speed line. And also her hair, when I was masking it, it just blends so much into the background at points that it, like, you see right here, like how you could barely tell the hair. It just looks so awkward, like if you pay attention closely to the hair. By the way, while I was masking some of this, I just literally put on podcasts, like RT podcasts, and got through a bunch of podcasts. So this was one thing that was really frustrating that happened, is for some reason, in Sony Vegas this happens, I don't know if it happens in other things, but sometimes, and this caused me so many problems near the end of the project, you notice how these have transparent backgrounds? The reason for that is because I was copying and pasting, and for some reason, sometimes the previews of like the masking, like you see that looks fine, how it looks like it's a perfect well, not perfect outline, but it's an outline of her. Sometimes at certain points in the timeline, it doesn't match up with the actual preview. So what was happening was, even though it was the same exact clip I copied and pasted throughout this whole thing, there would be times where like it would show some of the background and her head would be down here, and like part of her, like bottom of her like head would be cut off, and it was basically acting like it was a frame ahead or behind, even though in the preview, like in here, in the actual preview here, it was fine, but up here in the actual video it was not fine. So I had to get one of the ones that was actually working like with no issues, and I had to save it as I think a QuickTime video, because there was like an option that you can make the background transparent or something. I forget exactly how I did it, because I actually had to look up like a tutorial on like how to render out a video with a transparent background. So that I just did that, and then I copied and pasted that transparent video, and then I had to do the same thing with X-Ray, as you see here, except I think, I don't remember why I think I was having problems rendering again, so I just gave him a red background instead of, that's what it was. This is when the video started falling apart, and right before it became completely uneditable, I could not render it out as a QuickTime video. It would just crash the program, so I had to give him a transparent, not transparent background, but just a background that he could render out, that I could chroma key out. And I didn't use green because obviously X-Ray is green. I probably should have used blue. I don't know, but I used red. So he's actually a little bit transparent if you look very, very close, but it's not really much worth looking at. So these scenes right here were actually one of the first things that I did in the video. Like this was after I did the X-Ray and Vav and RTAA Ruby crossover, I did this little section right here was like the next thing I did just to see if I could continue doing it past that point. So because I had this was one of the scenes I had in my head. So we have Ruby from the Volume 2 opening falling, and then I have Joel from the skydiving episode, and I masked him out, as you can see. And I think I only really needed to adjust the hair point, so this was like an easy mask. And then we have Ruby looking over, and then we see Carolina is skydiving with them. So that was fun. And then also really quick, it's really shitty, but I just threw it in for fun, is that there's a really quick shot of Carolina coming down with them. I don't know, you guys probably didn't see that. And then I was surprised at how well this part looked. Vav coming down with them. I think I fixed this in another version. You see, like, it kind of cuts off the top, and then I added that in to bring the cape down with them. And so, see, this is where basically my program started getting problems, because you see I have nothing here. This is where I'll switch to the file. Okay, so see, this is the file where I have this part. This file is basically where I finished almost the rest of the video. Like you see, we're missing these parts. But what happened was with this one, I guess what corrupted my thing was I had moved one of the files, and I didn't realize that was the problem. So what I thought it was originally was just that I had too much stuff. So I basically, at this point, I deleted everything but this last few bits I was working on, but I didn't find out till later that it was because I moved that file and it kind of screwed everything up. And so what I did is after I did all this stuff, I copied and pasted it into a separate project that was like completely free of my project media, so I wouldn't think that I had moved a file or anything. But this worked for a time, so that's how I did some of this video. So in here we have Gus from the GTA RTAA popping up and shooting his pistol alongside Carolina shooting her pistol. So for this one, if you see I have this Carolina clip, that was because I had to mask out this pillar right here so that it would look like he's behind the pillar, or the corner, whatever you want to call it. So this one, if you see, I flipped the image, and I had to zoom in quite a bit because, you know, he's not that big in here, and I flipped the image so that he's facing this way, and then just did masking. And like you see at parts, I was able, because of this ledge, I didn't have to do all of this. I could cut off at a certain point and it would still show up because he's behind this, so I don't have to worry about masking everything that's behind here. So that's where I lucked out at parts. Like, see, the most I had to do was like probably right around there. But mind you, again, like, I'm going through this quick, but just remember that every one of these keyframes and all the parts that I've shown you, I've had to go in and individually go like doop, 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 doop. And also, like I said, this was my first time doing masking to this extent. Like, I've only used it very, 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 very minimally, and it wasn't even like there was like only 2 times I did like a whole character, and it was only for like split seconds. So this took me quite a while. Like, oh, and look, there it goes, it crashed. So see, I'm telling you, like, it just crashed. Before I exit out of this and open up like the final thing, so another problem I had was I had to render it out like four different files, because I had to render out from that program, I had to render out from the first one I showed you. The reason why was because like different parts of different projects were working, but they weren't working in other projects. Like that mask with Gus I just showed you, it was doing that weird thing like I was telling you where he, by the way, you like my background? It was doing that weird thing where he, like it doesn't match up with the preview. So I had to render out parts from that one, so that it would match up with the final project. And so then finally, like I'm telling you, like it literally took me like 10 hours to try to render this video, because even combining the clips, it would stop at certain clips and it wouldn't render them, and then it would just crash the file. So like you see here, I just rendered out like that part of the video, then this part where like I have the Bernie and Gus thing, and then pretty much there. Gus, see, these were like the corrected clips that I had to render out from different things. But what happened is for some reason certain files were like rendered out, there was conflicts with the file format. So what I had to do is I eventually uploaded all the clips I needed to my YouTube account as an unlisted video, and then I re-downloaded all of them so they'd be the same file, and then I threw them all in this project together, and then that's how I basically rendered my video. So it was a pain in the ass. And then I made this logo in I'm not really gonna show you how I just made it instead of Photoshop, I just took it into Vegas and I did it. And I just masked out, and I put like this like because of the masking tape, it looked weird with them behind the masking tape. So I found a stock footage, like a stock picture of like crumbled up like paper, like with lines, and I put the logo on that, and I put the masking tape. I get the joke there, masking tape. And then I just stuck them on top of the paper. And I put some, like a little bit of the 2D shadow stuff like I showed you that you use in here in the logo. And I kind of like the way that this looked, because it's like Yang pointing and then him flicking him off, and then like X-Ray is like pointing the other way, and then Gus is just like, hey bitches. But anyways, that's pretty much how it came together. Like like I'm not kidding. Like it took me you could even ask Shiki, Shifty Chaos, because I actually tried to send her the separate clips and have her render the footage in her program, just to see if she could render it if it was something with my program. And even with hers, it was doing something different with hers. Like with hers, it would get pixelated at certain parts. So it was something wrong with my file format, and I just had to upload it to YouTube and download the clips from my unlisted video, because even my format factory wasn't converting them for some reason. So I don't know what happened there, but anyways, that was my breakdown video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully this wasn't too long. If it is too long, well then fuck, I'm sorry if you watched this far and you were bored and you're like, why did I watch this video? I apologize. But if you did enjoy it, let me know. Maybe I'll do a breakdown video for something else if I do anything this I'm gonna take a break from doing video like this though, because let me tell you, even though this video turned out how I wanted it and I really enjoyed the final product, this was one of the most painful editing experiences of my life, mainly just because of how time consuming and how much stress and how much problems I had at the end. But I mean, I feel like it was worth it, but I'm definitely taking a break before I try to tackle masking on that level again. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments down if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you thought it was boring, let me know. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you would like to see more of this in the future. It wouldn't be to this extent, because I feel like I had a lot to break down this video compared to like my other videos. But yeah, just let me know. Talk to you guys later.